Heavy Object Episode 1, dude. To be completely honest, I really don't know right now. I'm straight up on the borderline with this series, and it could go either way. I want to believe in it. After the first episode, I was like, it wasn't amazing, it was solid, I was entertained, and I see the potential in it, and I still do, dude. And it's fucking Kamachi, dude. The light novel is by Kamachi, so I have faith that it can be something special. But right now, this episode wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. And I definitely was still entertained. Some portions of it were good. But a lot of it felt forced and cliche, especially where QWENTHER is concerned. And it's been a while since I've had a character where, on the one hand, I'm like, yo, QWENTHER's dope. I kind of like him, his dialogue and his internal monologues and everything like that. The progression of this episode is cool, but at the same time, like, this is a little fuckboy. Like, what is he on some hero complex shit simply because he wants that ass from the Hime summon and he got those opie in his face? You know, they didn't really force fan service this episode like they did, you know, in the first episode, which honestly, I'm okay with fan service, but that's neither here nor there, right? I wanted more Frolaytia screen time, but we didn't get enough Frolaytia screen time. But that's all. She was in the episode, and her and Hevay are speaking straight sense because the Water Strider destroys, you know, the baby Magnum, takes out Hime's fucking Hevay Object. And here's the thing. You know, I'm calling Melinda Hime, like, just straight up. I don't have time to remember that her name is Melinda. It's just Hime, pilots baby Magnum, that fucking object, alright? And I like her character, honestly, like, especially what she expressed this episode, but we'll get there in a second, right? Water Strider, which I'm salty that we didn't get to see the pilot of at all, but Water Strider wrecks everyone, and I knew, like last episode, and this did what I wanted, and we saw the foreshadowing of it in the fact that, you know, this fragile piece of, oh, we're just fighting with the objects and they're adhering to this shit. I was like, this is not gonna last. Somebody's gonna go off. Some shit's gonna go in. And you see this massacre, how monstrous this object truly is when these wars aren't structured and part of these guidelines and what's going to occur going forward, dude. So I'm liking the non-cliche, like, you know, nature of these object battles, and I want to see the intricacies of that going forward, definitely, to make it interesting for me. But at the same time, the characters, especially QWENTHER, like, I'm just like, yo, what? Like, he's straight on this hero complex shit. He's speaking utter nonsense. Like, and yet he goes off anyway, takes the gun, and he speaks just a tad bit of logic at the end where he's like, that's not going to be a bit of diversion. Yes, but regardless of that, Frolaytia is telling you that she's making the sacrifice for all of us. We can get away, potentially. And they probably could have. I'm not going to lie. The rest of them are probably getting away right now. And Hevay is speaking straight sense, because Hevay is basically like, what are you going to do anyway? Honestly, what can you do against that object? And of course, he has to come through and save his boy regardless, whatever. But QWENTHER goes off there straight on that hero complex, and he goes in. And I don't understand how, and I'm sure he's had training with a gun before, whatever, that's fine, but he was struggling to load that shit. He never killed anybody before, and it was weighing on him, dude. It's a heavy moment in that scenario. And yes, granted, they were making jokes about raping He-Man, you know, he caught the feels early for her, so of course, you know, he got a little bit enraged, and he was like, yo, these are human beings just like me. They've been, you know, subdued by this fragile piece. And I do like the dialogue and the writing, and that's probably just a part of it being from Kamachi himself. But I don't remember who's doing the script of that. Let me look into this real quick, because I believe that the person that's doing the script is actually somebody of me. It's Hiroyuki, dude. It's Yoshino Hiroyuki. So I'm liking the writing and the dialogue and everything like that. But aside from that, the moment that he decides to kill him, getting clean headshots when just a moment ago, he was hesitating like a motherfucker. And I don't get it, man. I'm just like, it felt cliche, the progression felt forced and slightly unrealistic to moderately unrealistic, and the episode's animation was nothing, you know, J.C.Staff, I expected a little bit more from it. And granted, they've strained themselves this year. They put out amazing, you know, project after amazing project for me personally. So I understand if the budget's not, you know, where it needs to be to make everything god level, and I'm sure they're saving it for more consequential episodes down the line, but it was nothing amazing. There were explosions everywhere, like I was watching some Michael Bay shit, and it was cool, and the explosion looks awesome. I like the tactics, the little bit of tactics we got between the baby Magnum and the Water Strider, but the massacre was alright, despite the choppy animation. I do like the art style, and I do like the writing, but right now, so now just something about it, even though the objects themselves escape the classic mech cliche, there's something about the characters that are just super cliche. Like, Melinda's character, Hime, like, I fuck with her, but at the same time, she's like, why'd you save me? Like, I had these thoughts, I'm like, what is it, what is the relevancy of that? In all honesty, like, you want to punish someone, and that makes me like her more, personally, but they're sitting there having this conversation. It's just me nitpicking. They're having this conversation all the while they haven't escaped enemy territory. This water strider's still searching for him. Like, yo, get moving. Hevay comes to save his boy. No questions asked. Oh, it couldn't be helped. I'm enjoying it. I was thoroughly entertained, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end. But it could go either way right now. This could be utter garbage, or it could be somewhat decent to actually living up to the potential I see buried in it, and it being a Kamachi, or it can be fucking beast. From what I've heard from people that have read the light novels, the series is beast. Okay, so, and it's J.C.Staff. They have mad talent on the project, director, series comments, and everything like that. I want to see more, and I hope the characters grow on me outside of Frolaytia and Hime's on, because GWENTHER and Hevay are just, you guys on some pseudo fuckboy shit right now. Everything is feeling forced and cliche for me, and I'm hoping it breaks that mold. So, still see a lot of potential in the series. Hoping episode 3 starts to get to that, and the pacing right now is a little bit on the slow side. I would have liked it to be a little bit faster in the opening episodes in order to get us established in the world and see more of the scope of everything. But regardless of that, we're probably gonna wrap up this little mini arc right here at the end of the next episode. So I'm looking forward to episode 3. I'm still gonna be reviewing the series because it's Kamachi, it's Hevay Object. It was one of my most anticipated, even though it's not in my top 5 most hyped new projects anymore. I'm still enjoying it, and I see the potential in it that could make it something amazing. So, I'm hoping for that. Let me know your thoughts on how you're feeling about Hevay Object right now, and I'm out. Peace.